Good morning, kind folk of the internet. I catch you again in another reading vlog, because what else do I make these days other than reading vlogs, really? And just long videos where I talk about nonsense, really. But anyway, so I have not been reading very much this March, which is also why I have not really been posting any videos, because I have not had anything to talk about, really. And I've also not had the motivation to talk about anything, but I am trying to get my act together and actually trying to read some books now at the end of March, in the latter half of March, if you will. And so I have decided to see how many books I can finish this week, because I'm currently in the middle of 4 books. Now, the 4th book I'm definitely not going to finish because it's way too long. But the other 3, I would like to see how far I can get with them this week. If possible, finish all 3 of them. If not, finish at least 2 of them. Technically, I'm coming to you at the wrong time, because I've literally just finished reading one of the books. But you have seen me read this book, because the B-roll that you saw before this was of me reading The Lifted Veil by George Eliot, which was on my list of 26 classics that I wanted to read this year. And so I have finally read it. I'm also currently busy reading This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which is also on my 26 classics list. I'm a third of the way into this book, I think. And then I'm also busy reading the book You Want Everyone You Love to Read by Phillipa Perry. Or Phillipa. I always get confused by how people pronounce that name. But anyway, so those are the 3 books that I'm wanting to finish this week. Granted, I come to you on Friday morning, and I want to finish them by Sunday. So for the rest of today, if I don't get distracted by other things, for the rest of today, I am going to try and read as much as possible. I'm going to try and mostly read This Side of Paradise so that I can get it off my plate, because, to be frank, I'm not really enjoying it that much, and I just want to finish it, and I just want to get it away. I just want to get it off my chest so that I don't have to think about it anymore. So for most of today, I think I'm going to be reading This Side of Paradise. And then tomorrow I have to work, tomorrow morning. But then tomorrow afternoon I'm going to try as well and do some reading. And then again on Sunday morning, up until the time when I have to edit and post this video, basically. I'm really coming to you very last minute. This is not a good idea, but this is just my idea. This is how it always ends up being. I always end up doing things right at the last minute. I wish I wasn't like this, but you know, sadly I am like this. But anyway, so that's my little intro to this video. I'm glad to have finished George Eliot's book. You won't catch me reading another George Eliot anytime soon, because whoa. I read this book, but don't ask me to tell you what it's about, because I've actually got no idea. I do genuinely not really understand the point of that book. And then at the end, there's that whole essay she wrote about silly novels by lady novelists. I read a couple of pages of that, and then I just thought, I genuinely don't want to read about her, like, trash talking lady novelists of the 19th century or before. I don't know that I'm gonna ever read another George Eliot, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, so if at least one thing is happening in this whole year of my reading 26 classics, is that I'm discovering which authors I don't feel like reading again. Which is kind of sad, because realistically I probably should actually have picked books by authors that I am actually really excited to read. But I don't have a book for every author of the alphabet, or an author for every letter of the alphabet that I'm really excited about. Which is sad. Or, I mean, I probably could have found some, but you know, whatever. By the end of this year I will have read several classics, some of which I will have enjoyed, some of which I will have not. But I'm hoping that for the most part I will enjoy them. Anyway, let's get on with the rest of today and the rest of this video, so that I can read and hopefully finish 2 more books this weekend. Okay, a little update. I've just finished This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm just not in the right mood, or if I'm just too dumb or something, but I didn't think it was that great of a book. First of all, the main character, Amory, or Amory, the way that I heard somebody pronounce it on the audiobook, which I think is stupid and the worst way to pronounce that name. I think it should be Amory. But anyway, that's just my point of view. He's a very unlikable character. Incredibly unlikable, or at least I didn't like him at all. But also, I feel like the whole story was like, if this was the surface, everything that was happening was just hovering right above the surface. Nothing felt like there was any, I don't know, it doesn't feel like I was connecting with any of the characters or with any of the plot or anything. It felt like this book was written to sound smart, but there's no depth and no like real intention or feeling or anything behind anything that happens. It feels like a bottomless pit, or Essentially, well, I mean, not... bottomless pit is probably not the right. But it feels like something where you see on the surface it looks really beautiful and pretty and fancy and it impresses you and everything. But as soon as you, like, touch the surface and make a ripple, you realize actually there's nothing underneath. There's absolutely nothing. It really annoyed me. Everything in it just felt vapid. That's the word I'm looking for. Vapid is what this story felt like to me. And I don't know if anybody who watches this video has read The Side of Paradise and loved it. Please, can you explain why? What am I not getting out of this book? What am I not understanding in the story? Because I really fail to see the appeal of this story, to be quite honest with you. Anyway, there was another thing I wanted to say about this book, but now I don't remember what it was. Editing Inga here, just to say that I remembered what I actually wanted to say at this point, and it was that F. Scott Fitzgerald mentions so many books in this book, and it feels like he just assumes that you know what all of these books are about, or that you have read them yourself, because otherwise it is useless for him to tell you what books this character is reading, because if you haven't read them yourself, you have no reference as to what he might be getting out of these books by reading them himself. But he mentions so many books in this book, and it kind of annoyed me because it felt like he was either just trying to show off by how many books and authors that he himself probably has read, otherwise he wouldn't mention them, and that he makes you kind of feel stupid for not having read them yourself. I think it might be quite obvious to you by my dislike of this book that I'm also not really clamoring to read another Fitzgerald anytime soon. To be quite honest with you, I don't know whether I will read another Fitzgerald. Yep, Fitzgerald ever in my life, because I don't know, he just doesn't intrigue me, and the way that I feel about this book just made me even less inclined to try and interest myself in any of his other works. And I'm really okay with that. I'm really noticing this year how much I actually don't care about all of the books that you should read and all of the things that are supposedly great works of literature or great movies or whatever. And then I watch them or read them and I just go, huh? So maybe I am just a little bit dumb. Maybe I'm just not tapped into the same mind frame or mental state, or I don't know, that everybody else is, to all the people who have enjoyed these things and who really think that they are the best things since sliced bread. I'm not one of those people. But nonetheless, I've also made a tiny bit of progress in the book You Want Everyone You Love to Read by Philippa Perry. This one I'm actually enjoying. So thank God I'm actually... My headphone cable just fell off the table. Thank God I'm actually enjoying one of the books that I'm reading in this reading vlog. I'm on page 28 now. And this book, besides the fact that I'm actually enjoying it, it is actually really easy to read and really easy to understand. It is not complex. It is not trying to be smart so that I think that I'm dumb while reading it. Which is great, because the point of this book is that as many people are able to get out of it, or as able to get as much out of it as possible. And now she talks a little bit about attachment styles in this book. And now I want to find out what my attachment style is, because I'm really curious to know. Because I can't figure it out, because I don't feel like the two attachment styles that she spoke about a lot so far are me. But maybe I'm just kidding myself. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this one so far. So that's going to be what I'm going to be reading a little bit more this afternoon. Or I should say this evening. It's already 11 minutes past 5. But at least the sun is starting to set later and later these days, and now it only sets at like 6:30, which is a blessing. It feels like such a blessing that the sun only sets at 6:30 at night now. When like a month ago, 2 months ago, it was setting at 4 o'clock. God, I love spring. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and go read, and you can see some more B-roll. To the end of this video and an update on the book that I'm currently reading, the book you want everyone you love to read by Phillipa Perry. I'm currently a third of the way through this book, so I didn't make quite as much progress on this book as I had wanted to, but I ended up going out with my sister for a walk this afternoon, and yesterday I didn't end up having as much time to read or spending as much time reading as I would have liked to. I had a little bit of work to do, and that always ends up taking more time than I think it does. But so far I'm still enjoying this book. It's got really short and easy to digest sections about different situations that you might find yourself in within the relationships in your life, whether that is romantic or friendships. I mean, a lot of it so far has been placed on or talking about romantic relationships, but I'm now into, I want to say, the second chapter proper of the book, or the second big section, if you will. So I'm going to see if that's going to be different in terms of whether it will be about more than just romantic relationships, but still it's an interesting read, and there are some things that I've taken away that are of interest to me. I'm definitely going to pass this book on once I've finished reading it. This is not a book that I feel the need to keep necessarily, and also it is kind of in the title of the book that you should give this book away once you've finished it. So if my sister wants to read this book once I've finished with it, I will let her read it. And then if she's finished reading it, I'll probably just go put it in the little free library in town for somebody else to read. But yes, that's all I really have to say. Thank you for being here with me on this journey. I could have stretched this video out for longer if I wanted to, because I realized that I'm actually not posting this video today on Sunday when I'm recording it. Today on Sunday, when I'm recording this outro, I have posted my most recent book haul of a few classics that I bought for my 26 classics in 2026 challenge that I'm trying to complete. So technically I could stretch this reading vlog out for a couple more days, but I don't want to. I kind of like the idea that I set myself a deadline, and now I'm sticking to it. Obviously I will still be reading this book after this video. I'm hoping to finish this book within the week. Pretty sure I will be able to. It's really easy to read and really quick to get through, so I don't think I'll have to be spending so much more time reading this before I finish it. But so far, so good. And then I get to move on to the next book that I'm going to be reading, which is going to be another one of my classics that I need to finish. And possibly, hopefully, a couple of other non-classics and non-challenge related books. But anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please let me know what you're currently reading in the comments down below, and I will see you again anon with another video. Bye.